Campus Nation fans and KLP Worldwide fans, welcome back to the YouTube channel of KLP Entertainment. We're back with Cooking with Kennedy Lucas. We're live here in the kitchen, and we're going to be cooking up something very new for the segment of the show, and something very, very juicy. And I do mean juicy. It's the juicy salmon mixed seafood medley. Of course, I will be showing you how I cook my juicy salmon mixed in with spinach and fried shrimp. Take a look. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, back here in the kitchen. Of course, that is our fresh salmon and our fresh shrimp. Of course, I like to go to Kroger to get those brands. You can go to different stores such as Walmart and Ingles, but again, I like to go to Kroger to get my necessary meats and produce. Of course, now the first step is we're cooking up the shrimp. So I like to cut the ends off. I don't like to eat the shrimp whole because the ends, you can eat those, but it just doesn't taste as good. So I like to cut the little fins off for the shrimp. As you see now, I'm cutting those shrimps off. I'm doing it one by one so that way it's nice evenly proportioned. And it's just going to be a few shrimps that we're going to fry up. Yes, I did mention frying up the shrimp. We're going to have fried shrimp with this process. You can make cooked shrimp if you're making pasta, but for this dish, we're just going to do a simple fried dish for the shrimp. So I'm cutting up each piece one by one for sure. As I cut up that shrimp there for sure. On to that next step, of course, we're getting a bowl, and mixed in with the bowl with flour, we're going to put the shrimp in. Now, if in order to fry anything, whether it's shrimp, whether it's chicken, salmon, fish, beef, pork, well, I guess you can't really say so much on beef, but when you're frying these kind of things, you want to have your good bit of flour, and you want to spread it all over your meats or produce, whatever you decide, whether it's shrimp, fish, pork. Every fried food that you want it deep fried, you have to have flour. You can't just toss it in a grease thing, a big pot of grease, and expect it to fry and taste as good. Flour adds that extra oomph. It adds that extra taste. It makes that batter come up to make it seem and taste like it's deep fried. So that's why I add a bit of flour into this process. And I like to mix it up for sure. The next step is putting the shrimp onto your pan, of course, your thing of grease. Now with this process, you don't need a lot of grease. You only need a lot of grease if you're doing deep fried fish or deep fried pork or chicken. But in this instance, we're doing simple as shrimp. So you don't need a lot of grease in your pan, because there's a lot of grease that you're wasting afterwards. So you just toss it in there, and you just let it sizzle, and you let it bake. You let it cook up to a good temperature degrees of medium high to high. You don't want it too high because you don't want to fry it so fast. You don't want to fry that outside so fast so that way the inside doesn't get fried well. So you want it at a very nice temperature. Take a spatula and you stir it up. Next step is for the salmon. You get a good decent size amount of grease. You don't want too much, you don't want too little. And now there's our produce salmon there. Of course, that salmon is on that pan. You don't need a big pot for the salmon. You're going to do deep fried salmon if you're doing that way, which it may not taste as good. So we're doing a nice stove overcooked salmon. Now with this, you want to have it at a very slow temperature. You don't want it at a super high temperature. Again, if you have it at a super high temperature, it's going to be too hard. It's going to be fried. You want to do a nice slow roast, slow cooked salmon. So for each side, you don't want to see so much of pink. Even though salmon is kind of a pinkish type of color to it, you still want it to look like it's sort of similar fried a little bit. You don't want to fry it up so much like you're frying it. You're doing a slow roast cook of salmon. So you want to do each side. Of course, it's okay if you got a little burnt there. It just adds that flavor. Again, you don't want it too burnt, but you want it to be nice and cooked. You don't want to have your salmon super raw where you can't really eat it. So I like to flip it up with both sides, so that way both sides get it in. And the one way to tell if your salmon is finished, just simply cut it in half at a good rate. I had some of this for dinner and lunch. So then you just look at it and then you see that it is ready. So now there it is, your handsome dish of salmon and fried shrimp on a spinach platter. Of course, you can add some sauces to it. I just like to keep mine very plain and simple. You can add yum yum sauce, you can add so much to that process if you like. And that's how we do it, ladies and gentlemen. That juicy, juicy, juicy salmon fish made to cook to order for you guys. Hopefully you guys have an appetite, and maybe hopefully I gave you guys some ideas on how to cook juicy, fresh salmon. Until next time, y'all, stay tuned, stay swanky.